everyone. Welcome to our new channel via Knowledge and Relationships. My name is Jessica Hanson, and I will be co-hosting with some lovely ladies tonight. So I'm just going to introduce myself to the channel. Our channel is called The Social Hour, and we will be here on Friday nights. So looking forward to seeing all of you. I am a college English instructor at a HBCU in Nashville, Tennessee. Again, my name is Jessica Hanson. I live probably like 30 minutes away from Nashville, Tennessee. I love, well, you can see my little sweater I have on tonight, repping my rescue cats. I have cats and lizards and fish. I love to read and travel. Now I'm going to throw it over to one of my co-hosts, Miss Abiola Williams.
Hi, everyone. My name is Abiola Williams. I'm a special education teacher and a / coordinator. I'm actually Guyanese, living in America since I was a child. Love to travel, meet new people, try new foods, but mostly family oriented. Throwing it over to the next.
All right. So I am going to share the screen in just a moment. One of our co-hosts could not be here tonight. Ironically, the topic that we are going to be discussing is work-life balance and burnout. And her job was really doing the most this week. So her name is Lisie Willingham-Pierce. She lives in Golden Springs, Alabama with her wife, Adria. They both work really, really hard. She is an inventory specialist for a large vehicle manufacturer, and her wife is a medical biller and coder. So when they're off, they love to relax, travel, play darts, other like competitive sports games. They go mud riding. She has a dog named Roxy, 2 cats, Eggsy and Sophia. She likes to personalize her nails, listen to oldies, rap, learning raps. We do little rap battles. She has a passion for food, but she also says she's weight conscious. She says she hates to go to bed when she has to, but also hates to wake up. And she said, I sound like a psychopath. She's my best friend since 8th grade, not a psychopath, definitely well-rounded. So now we're going to throw it to our other co-host, Jacqueline Williams. Jackie. Oh, you are muted. There you go.
Hello, my name is Jacqueline Williams. I'm originally from Flint, Michigan. I've been in Tennessee 31 years. I retired from General Motors. Now I'm a paraprofessional working on my master's to be a math teacher. And my spare time, I like sewing. I do read a lot. And I also continue to work on math problems because sometimes I forget, certain things on there. And I have a 26-year-old son.
All right. So now we have some amazing panelists tonight I've asked to come on. So we are going to go to Brittany Winston first. If you want to just introduce where you're from, what you do, what you enjoy.
Hi, everyone. So I'm Brittany Winston. I currently work as a software engineering associate at Accenture in St. Louis, Missouri, where I'm from. I was an elementary school teacher for 5 years. I actually left the profession back in 2020, right when the pandemic started. So I enjoy creating things. I enjoy thrifting. So on the side, I do have a resale business, and I'm currently working on starting a crafting business. I just bought a Cricut and heat press and all of that good stuff. So I'll be starting that soon. I have a dog. His name is Nino. He's right here in my lap because he's very clingy. That's me.
All right. So now we are going to go to our another panelist for this evening, Sierra Che Calwood, about to be Gabrielle. I think you're muted.
There we go. Gabriel, soon to be.
Sorry.
So the countdown is real. All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Sierra Shea Callwood, or soon to be Sierra Shea Gabriel. I'm originally from New York City. I'm a little Manhattan baby. I've been in the world of ESL, TESOL, TOEFL and arts for the past 14, 15 years. Currently dragging my feet about finishing my doctoral dissertation in educational leadership because I have no idea what I'm going to do with that. I love teaching adult literacy, and I'm working with children right now. I work remotely. I am not in the country currently. I'm actually in Central America. I'm in the only English-speaking country in Central America right now. I'm in Belize. Loving my new life, and I can't wait to get into tonight's topic about burnout. But hi, ladies, and hey, everyone out there.
All right. So thank you all for introducing yourself. We are going to jump right in. The very first thing we are talking about, like Sierra just alluded to, first we're going to go in a little different. We are going to ask one of our co-hosts, Abiola, what her definition first is of the American dream. And do you think it is something feasible still, or do you think it is a myth?
For me, the American dream as an immigrant, first generation going to college in America, it's a little different because I think a lot of times immigrants owe a lot to their parents. So when you get to this country, it's drilled into you: go to college, get a good job, because you see your parents work mediocre jobs, and that's not that's not what they want for you. So it's feasible to an extent, but if I had to do it over, would I have gone to college without my parents telling me I had to go? Maybe, maybe not. But since it was drilled into us coming here that you're gonna go to America, we came since we were young. You're gonna get a good education, go to college, get a good education, get a good job, so you can make a better life for yourself. But if I had to do it for my children, I won't. I would let my children take a different path, which I actually did with my oldest. He's in college. He decided he wanted to go to junior college instead of the college he was actually accepted into. And I'm going to let them make that decision for themselves because they're actually the first generation that was born in the United States. So I think they should have that ability to make their own decision with us interjecting as their parents. So I'm taking a different path than my parents did with us. I'm just guiding my children in that direction. But the thing is, the American dream is achieved, but what's behind it? A whole lot of debt. Because at this point, you got student loans to pay back, you got all this stuff, but you got an education. Was it really worth it? I don't think it was.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your input. Now we are going to ask Miss Winston. What do you think, Brittany? What do you think about the American dream, just the definition itself? Do you think it is a myth, or do you think it is still attainable, achievable?
For me, I think the American dream is definitely subjective, depending on your culture, your background, and where you come from. For me personally, I would say that it's I'm in between the myth, but that's what I feel, because I feel there are people that are ignorant of things. They're not aware of some things that could allow them to get the American dream. And there are people that are possibly withholding that due to, resources that people have access to and things of that nature. So I do feel it's a myth because I feel, some people do have access to the American dream, which I believe will be freedom and just the ability to pursue your dreams and to actually obtain those dreams. But then there are those who they don't have that ability. They don't have the knowledge. And a lot of it is due to it not being shared, or due to how they were raised or what they've seen. Like I come from a single parent household. And so my mother didn't go to college. And so if I were to, if she didn't try to find better opportunities for me, then what I would have seen is what I would have went after. I would have believed that that's it. That's my life. I'm going to be a single parent. I'm going to live in a very urban area in St. Louis City and not safe area, or, but she decided, I'm going to put you all in other areas so you can see different things and be exposed. And I think it depends on, you know, resources and things of that nature.
All right. Thank you again for your perspective. So now we are going to look at a different topic a little bit. So with the American dream, that everyone, either if they are believing that it is a myth or they believe it is still attainable, a lot of people still try to pursue it, even if they are not, you know, actually doing it, right? You all have to pay bills. You all have to do something to be productive, or, you know, people might look down on you, say you're a bum, say you're lazy, things like that. You might not worry about that. You might have evolved and done your own like mental health journey and not worry about what other people think. But most people, right, still have to pay bills, don't have big trust funds, all of that kind of thing. So we're going to look at, once we are in a career or job or working towards that in college, or we've changed our major and we're trying to do different paths, the burnout issue. So I'm going to go ahead and look at this quote on the screen. And so when we're talking about work-life balance, once you have hopefully, you know, fulfilled a degree, and once you are in your job or career, a lot of people, right, they think, okay, now I've achieved this and I should, you know, have some solace when I get home, or I should be able to enjoy my time, enjoy my family, enjoy my friend, personal lives. But then you see that reality, like the American dream, often is a myth as well. So let's look at this first quote, and we're going to go to one of our panelists, Sierra. So it says, there is no such thing as work-life balance. Everything worth fighting for unbalances your life, by Alan de Botton. What do you think about that quote? What is your reaction, Sierra? Oh, I think you're muted.
There we go.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. If I was still in the States, I would totally 100% agree with that quote, from being on a hamster wheel and running around. But fortunately, I've been blessed enough to travel throughout my life and live in different cultures and experience different values in terms of what is self-fulfillment. And I don't think the idea of burnout exists in so many other cultures as it does here. Mm-hmm. So we have this propensity to have to do this, get this, keep up with the Joneses and do this, and everyone else in the world is like, we want to do that. And we're looking at them and vacationing and traveling to where they're at. Like, no, we want to do that. So I think in terms of perspective, burnout is a very Western, almost very North American type of situation that you won't really encounter in several other parts of the world to the same degree that you have here. And I think it's best summarized by Cat Williams, who said, like, the man tricked you that there's 24 hours in a day, so he'll give you 8 of these hours, but you're spending like 8 to 12 of those hours sleeping. So realistically, you only have 12 to 14 hours in a day. With that mindset of, I have to work, I have to get the kids, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to do that. That American hamster wheel and that fictitious, I have to do this, and that burnout that exists is like kind of almost a Western problem that doesn't really materialize itself in other areas to the same degree, because the other countries are trying to keep up with the idea of Westernization or the Joneses that they see on TV, or you have to have the big house, or you have to do this, and they have to go here, or to educate your students in the West because it's better, not realizing that their schools are way better than any K through 12 situations that you might find in the neighborhood where you'll actually be able to afford to pursue this American dream. So burnout is real in America, and then it kind of like goes down the slippery slope of non-relatively as you like get out. That would be my 2 cents.
Well, I appreciate your 2 cents. And I saw lots of people shaking their heads, people who have traveled, people who are from other countries, right? So we've gotten to see the experience here and other places that we might wish to be more often. or at least get to go to more often. So we're going to look at another quote, and this time we're going to get Miss Jackie's opinion. So let's get this one. So this one again is about work-life balance still. So nobody in the history of humanity has ever achieved work-life balance, whatever that might be. And you certainly won't get there by copying the 6 things successful people do before 7 a.m. The day will never arrive when you finally have everything under control, when the flood of emails has been contained, when your to-do list have stopped getting longer, when you're meeting all your obligations at work and in your home life, when nobody's angry with you for missing a deadline or dropping the ball, and when the fully optimized person you've become can turn at long last to the things life is really supposed to be about. What do you think about his perspective, Miss Williams, Jackie?
Well, I don't agree with the work-life balance because for me, it wasn't raising a child by myself, working, going to school. When I was in college, he went to college with me 4 days out of the week. And he had to grow up fast because I had to teach him how to wash his clothes, stuff like that, things that the parent's supposed to do. But when you work in a rotating shift, you don't want your child on that rotating shift. And that rotating shift wasn't good for me at all. And I kept him balanced, but I was so out of balance. And with the stress that come with it, I was glad that I was able to finish my bachelor's when he was younger. Then I started going to school online, so I didn't have to go from home to school and trying to find a babysitter. So there's no work-life balance, really, when you have children, you raising them by yourself.
Well, I definitely appreciate your perspective as a single mother and all that you taught Calvin, and you're still continuing to teach him, even though he's grown, quote unquote.
Yeah.
I don't think any of us are ever fully grown. So, all right. So let's look at one more, and we are going to go to Abiola for this one. So the next one, it says 2 people can get the same result while one has all the time in the world and the other doesn't. What do you think about that quote in terms of work-life balance, Abby?
2 people can have the same results while you say one has all the time in the world, depending on how they're being strategic. Because 2 people can have the same time, the same results while having the same time, but one is more strategic than the other. So one might be using their time a little wiser in the sense that they prioritize their time, say maybe at night, like I used to do. So I would get my household together. Everybody goes down. I'll take my sleep, then get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and knock whatever I have to get done. So that's how I use my time. Then the next person, they might use theirs during the day because that's what worked for them. So it all depends on how you make it work for you. Because like I say, they're like Sierra said, there's 24 hours in a day. However you use your per Cat Williams, technically we have 12 or 14, like she said, because I saw the quote a couple of days ago. How you use your 24 hours or your 14 or 12 hours in the day is up to you. Something might work for me, but it may not work for Sierra or Miss Winston or the other Miss Williams. So I know what worked for me as a parent and a wife. 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, because I was in college like Miss Williams was. That's the time I got up once my family was asleep to get my work done, because I know that was my quiet time and my solace time, So it all depends on the 2 people like you. They can have the same time. It's how they use their time, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Sierra, go ahead.
Can I piggyback off of you?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Also, I think a lot of that quote has to do with your financial resources, because if someone has the financial ability to delegate that job to someone else that they can't do, that'll give them more time to do it. So in terms of having the financial ability to be flexible, my favorite joke are the Kardashians. They have all the time in the world to do all this stuff because they pay an army of people to do all this stuff for them. So they perceive, oh, I can do that. No, you can't. You don't have like 15 people cleaning your house. You don't have 3 nannies. You don't have a chef. You don't have a personal, gym instructor. You don't have a plastic surgeon on speed dial or a dermatologist when you have that zit before you go, So I think, we can get to the same result eventually, but money makes that result a lot easier. But then that work balance life gets thrown off because you're spending all the time making money to put your kids in the daycare so someone else can raise your kids. So you're not getting that balance that you normally would, or vice versa. If a mom stays at home to take care of their kids while there's one breadwinner, then the family budget's going to be a lot tighter, So I think you can arrive to the same location, but your road to get there is going to be completely different based off of how much money you have to do that and how you delegate your time in doing that. That's my extra 4 cents. I think I'm up to 4 cents now.
Exactly. I was going to say, on top of the financial aspect, is another piece. It could tie into this westernized American, but a sense of like entitlement some people have. So they'll be like, oh, I don't have to do this, or something should just fall into my lap, or I should just get these opportunities because I am whatever, from a rich family or from a certain race or some kind of background. And so I think a lot of that also comes into play. So I know, like, going to college, working, right, 2 or 3 jobs. And then a lot of times now, like we were talking about earlier, people think once they've gotten this degree or degrees, that they should, be comfortable. But right, with the cost of living and a growing family or whatever it might be, they find that that's not the case. So then they have to have a side hustle or multiple other things, right? But what Abiola was saying, what Sierra was saying, what Jackie was saying, right? Having your path, whatever that is, it might not be feasible for another person, or it might be that they might not be willing to put forth the effort that you are to get to that route. So, Abby, go ahead.
Can I say something else to piggyback off of Sierra? It helps, and I have noticed this with a lot of Caribbean people or people outside the United States. They're more willing to jump in and help one another. So we always had, like, for myself, we and my sisters, we always had our mom. So we never had to pay for a babysitter. We never had to. My mom literally quit her job just to make sure our kids was okay. So we would pay our mom. You know what I mean? So it's all those things tie in. So it's not just, the 24, like she said, the 24 hours is how you use it. But at the same time, you having that extra help, not even in the form of money, but in the form of support, that makes a huge difference. Because, like, my husband would stay home with the kids at night when I had college classes. That's his job, but he was home. So we had different jobs. So he worked during the day when I could be at college at night. We both had day jobs. So it's just that extra support in place. And I think, like, in the United States, if we can see a little more of that for families, it will make a huge difference. Like, for instance, somebody have a child when they're real young. And I know it might be a little, off for some parents, but at least jump in and see where you can support if that child want to go back to college, if they want to go back to high school, or whatever the case may be. I think that little support needs to be there more.
Mm-hmm. Ms. Winston, I know all of us have put our input in with this, or Brittany, what do you want to add to this portion of the conversation?
I definitely agree with all that was said. And the only the thing that comes to mind is pretty much perspective for me. It's based on that person's perspective. Getting a result for somebody else, maybe, a different result for someone else. And I think about time. I think about when I was a teacher and I would make all these to-do lists, and, and it never ended for me. But then there were other teachers that were like, okay, these are the priorities. And I still got my result, and so, but then I'm working day and night because the same result they're trying to get, I'm trying to get in a different way because of my perspective of what it looks like. So, it's really, I think, and everyone pretty much touched on that it's different, for everyone.
All right. So the next thing we're going to talk about, we've alluded to a little bit, But we have a supposed expert. So we're going to learn from them and maybe give them some critiques. Who knows? Because all of us have seemed to have good 2 cents, 4 cents, however much we're inputting. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and share this next thing. And so make it a little larger. Okay. So this was from the Bloomsburg Business Week, an article, and it was by a West Point performance psychologist named Nate Zinzer from last month. So November, barely last month, November 29th, 2021. And they are suggesting some ways that you can avoid burnout. So one thing they discuss is managing your fuels. Another is shifting into joy. Training yourself to relax on cue. Ooh, that's easier said than done. Be greedy about your energy and assert your needs. So with the first one, Zinzer is discussing managing your fuels. And so they were saying that burnout is defined literally by a campfire, right? Is burning out, using that metaphor, because it runs out of actual fuel. So metaphorically, what is fueling you, your personal fire, what is keeping you lit, either in your career, your home life, your romance, whatever it may be. And whatever that is, he is suggesting that we have to optimize the fuel producing capability of sleep, emotional state, and ongoing thought processes. And he says that you have to carefully manage all three. So if you are trying to carefully manage sleep, your emotional state, and your ongoing thought processes, what would you say has been a way you have been successful with that, Jackie? Or not? You don't have to have been successful.
I didn't have to do what now?
I said you don't have to have been successful with it. He just suggests that if you get your sleep together, your emotional state, and your thought processes, that your fuel will be there to light your fire. What do you think about that? Or how have you done that?
Well, that's a hard one for me when I was doing everything, you know. Mm-hmm. There's no way. You just, you have to let certain things go. And, you know, you have to prioritize. That's how I made it. You know, as far as the fuel was burning, I got probably 3 to 4 hours of sleep. And that was it. But to maintain your insanity, it's hard to do. Sometimes, like when I was working before I retired, and on the job, when the line break down, that's when I would sit back and just relax, wouldn't do anything. Some other days I had time when I would always bring my homework to work with me. You know, it's just like it was never ending. And then you had to come home to your child and try to give him everything and I'm falling asleep. Mama, wake up. You said, no, I'm meditating. You know, you never want to tell your child you're sleeping. So I would just tell him I was meditating. And, you know, it's just hard to do. It's hard. And I used to always get from women who were married or they were divorced but had the money. You know, I stuck with my child. I wasn't letting him be without me unless it was, you know, when I had to take him to daycare or a babysitter. And sometimes the weekend, I just want to sleep. I would take him to a drop-in daycare. I would sleep. I would just be there sleeping. And then when I go pick him up, I come back and it just starts all over again. You know, that's how I got through it.
I was going to say, so it sounds like, well, you accidentally said to keep your insanity earlier. So, but I see from a mother perspective, that is definitely apt. But you were saying the biggest thing that dropped for you on your fuel levels were the sleep. And I definitely can relate to that. I remember when I first moved to Tennessee from Alabama, I was working some crazy job, and they don't have to know about this now because, you know, I don't work there anymore. But I was not supposed to work. I was like supposed to do just my internship. They were like, if you do a regular job, you could get fired if we catch you waitressing or at Walmart or something. And I was like, well, that's just for my tuition and books. I'm going to pay rent and bills. That's crazy, but whatever. So now, you know, I did it. Whatever. Y'all get over it. I worked third shift at like a DUI center as like a secretary, security guard. Plus I was doing an internship at the college. Plus I was taking PhD level classes. And so, like you said, the sleep would always fall to the wayside, and the emotional state oftentimes too, right? So your thought processes were supposed to be going while you're in school, while you're working, but how can you keep your mind properly functioning if you're not getting enough sleep, if you're not taking care of yourself emotionally, if you're not cooking, cleaning? And I know all of us on here, literally every one of us has been a teacher, and we all have had that horrible not functioning work-life balance, right? And some of y'all are mothers, others of us have just chosen this profession and had multiple tears and some joys as well. But like what Brittany said, right, she wound up switching careers during the pandemic, and I think part of that was due to this, right? Due to this culture of go, achieve, but when do you take care of yourself and go for you and your mind and your sleep and your stability?
Yeah.
So go ahead.
I was going to say, like, I agree with everything that was just said. Especially like you can't, it's hard. It's very hard to do. And I had to go to therapy. It became like, I need to go and get help from somebody else. Cause I don't know, I'm trying to shorten my to-do list, and I'm trying to make sure I go to sleep at this time. I'm trying to also make sure I'm eating healthy. And then I will go to work. I will be the first one at the school. Every school that I've worked at, I was always the first one there. I would get there at 6, 5 o'clock in the morning because I just had so much anxiety about the day. And I thought that would help me throughout the day, but that didn't help me throughout the day because it happened over and over because it's cutting out sleep time. It's cutting out time for me to eat food. And so I had to get help. And in talking to a therapist, I realized, okay, it's the thought processing that was really my struggle, because I got the sleep thing down, but it was like, okay, you have some mental strongholds or some mental things that you need that are associated with this position that you're gonna have to let it go. And so I'm sorry, is it Miss Jacqueline?
Yeah.
Okay, Miss Jacqueline, like you just said about, you have to let things go. And I had to let that go. It was hard. I loved the kids. I loved all of that. But then I realized I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make it in this field. So I think that's what a lot of people, sometimes we have to walk away things. We have to be a little selfish, because I felt bad. But, it may be something else for you. Like for me, it was, I have to leave this profession because of what it was doing to me. But for somebody else, it might be, a relationship. It might be, any other type of thing. But I had to get out of it. I had to definitely get help first, because I was unable to see clearly as to what it was.
Mm-hmm. I think that transitions us. I'm going to come right to you next, Sierra, into the next piece that he suggested. This psychologist, he says, shift into joy. And so sometimes, like Brittany said, you have to choose you. You have to choose something healthier, even if it's hard, even if you actually love a fraction of what you're doing. If it's hurting you, if it's detrimental to you, to your family, then it's not actually good. And you are literally spreading yourself so thin that you can't be as productive or as helpful as you would want to have been in that career or relationship or whatever. So he says shifting into joy means a negative emotion has consumed the fuel. And so beware of slipping into fear, anger, jealousy, or envy. You can counter that by finding some sort of positive emotional gear of appreciation or gratitude. And since he is over these military cadets, he says for cadets, he suggests channeling the feelings of giving or receiving a wonderful gift of some sort. So it's a skill that takes time, but it can be learned, though it's tricky. So is there something like that you would want to share, Sierra, or something you were wanting to build off of what Brittany said?
I could do a combo.
Okay.
The build off is the key in terms of actually seeking out services, seeking out help, seeking out someone to talk to, which has been the most trending thing as of the past 5 years, where people are saying, hey, I go to therapy. Oh, me too. What's your therapist's name? All that fun stuff. Where before it would be seen as failure, or you're you're not doing it. And in my world, because I'm third generation American, and my family is from the Caribbean on both sides. So there's no such thing as mental weakness. You're a coconut. You work harder. You just get over it. You dust it off and get another job. You'll figure it out, you know? So you have the job rotation, which is my like whenever I have just one job, I have anxiety. Like I need another job to pick up the slack in case there's a problem here. But in terms of consuming fuel, some people are really addicted to the manicness of the rush, so they don't know how to calm down because their life has been so hectic, and the idea of pausing and reflecting and having self-time and thinking about what you want when you're a mother, you're a wife, you're a teacher, you're this, you're that, and you're giving yourself all the time that you don't have any focus on yourself. I feel like that is the biggest area, especially as educators, to overcome. And I had zero desire ever in my life to be a teacher. My mother was a teacher. My grandmother was a teacher. I was jealous of my mom's students because she gave them all this love and attention. And I'm like, yo, you have a kid? Why? What's going on here? And it only happened after, my stint I was supposed to be an art therapist, and seeing how racist and yada, yada, that whole entire field is. And if you didn't speak English, they just gave you whatever drugs they wanted to, and they totally screwed up your entire life. And I was like, all right, I could only help the people who speak Spanish, but I can't help anyone else. Let's teach everyone English to help them communicate and advocate for themselves. But you learn very quickly that being that empathic person is extremely draining, because you want to help and give and give and give and give, and you can't fill a cup if your vessel is empty, like that saying always says. And for me, working with adults and mostly undocumented students when I was back in the States the past 4 or 5 years has been absolutely hell on my population. And I literally had to take a step away from my dissertation because I had 3 students get deported. Okay. So I'm like, this is a little bit too close to home in terms of when you're a teacher, you're a therapist, you're a counselor, you're a parental consultant, you're an advisor. And when you get home, then you're all this other stuff that you're holding the cap for. So in terms of trying to find something to make you happy, it's tricky, because what makes you happy is success and seeing people do better. And then you're not paying attention that you're depleting your happiness by building everyone else up, So my joke is, my students are all over the world, and several of them have amazing jobs, amazing companies, and make hundreds of millions of dollars. And I'm suffering, broke, arriving early to work because I'm trying to avoid LA traffic to get down to a school where I'm a coordinator, because I don't want to sit in traffic at 8 a.m. So I'm gonna wake up at 5 a.m. to go get there for 6 o'clock in the morning, and then twiddle my thumbs for 2 hours for no reason, So I find the idea of this, especially as educators, where burnout is real because we don't have the resources that we need. We don't have the support that we need. So we're constantly supplementing, and mental health takes a backseat. So that's when you have people like, I quit.
We're going to talk about that in just a little bit. So I'm going to come to you next, Abiola. What you were mentioning, Sierra, about your background and about the coconut. I love that and hate that, because that you had to do that. But also I relate on the part about the therapy, because not my generation, but my family, and I think it was more me, I just thought that there was like a negative connotation with going to therapy, but it's because my dad was a therapist. So I was like, I can't be crazy. My dad's a therapist. I should be straight. No. So, but like you said, then it became trendy and everybody was going to therapy, self-help, all these things. But are they really like doing the work, or are they just saying, I'm doing this? It's like cutesy, so I can post about it on Instagram and talk about all these little things that everyone wants to see or get likes or whatever for. So the next piece that it is discussing in Zinzer's suggestions, tips are training yourself to relax on cue. And so he said that this 50-year-old relaxation technique that cadets are supposed to use in the military to still their bodies, to focus on breathing, repeating this simple, comforting words such as easy, calm, peace, whatever. Or he said a word with some personal religious significance or sanctity. So essentially, you rest your brain, you repeat and do these psychological changes in your blood pressure, your heart rate, oxygen uptake, and blood lactate accumulation. And he says some of the cadets do practice this in the weight room before lifting sets. So do any of you do anything like that, either emotional, psychological, either prayerfully, or if you're not a prayerful person, any kind of like workout, anything like that? And then if not, if you don't want to share any of those type things, I know Abiola, you had something to say or add on.
I want to piggyback off of Sierra. I think healthy boundaries is key, because I've learned to say, you have to learn to say no to things. Sometimes we don't want to say no, and everybody that knows me personally, knows my family, is like my number one priority. Like my husband and my kids, like we not up for debate when it comes to those people in my household. So if you're asking me to do something and it's gonna compromise what I got going on with my family, respectfully, I'm not doing it. So I think having that healthy boundary with people and letting them know, listen, I know this is important to you at this moment, but this is what's important for me at this moment. Maybe we can compromise somewhere down the line, but I don't think this is the right time for this. So a lot of times with me, I leave a lot of whatever I got going on at work. When I go home, my home time is dedicated. Whatever time my husband come home, whatever time my kids are home, that time is dedicated to my family. It's not a discussion. So I think we got to get back to understand like what is important to you. A lot of people cannot tell you, if you ask them what is important to you. I got to make sure I get to work. I got to make sure I get this. Okay, it is what it is. If it ain't done, I'll get to it. I get my work done. That's not even up for debate. But I'm not compromising my family life for anybody. And this is, and Sierra can probably speak to this, like Caribbean people don't play by their family, period. And I'm probably getting a deep accent right now. Like Caribbean people, we don't play with our family. Like you come, like my mom, if you hear her speak, if you think my accent is thick, she be like, hey, listen, we ain't got time for this and these kind of stuff. So it's like it comes out. So it's, I just think for me to get some kind of peace, I learned to tune out people. Like I'll be standing there listening to you. Am I hearing? I'm there with you in present body, but am I hearing what you're saying? Because I've done it to my mom, so I've learned how to tune people out. Because she was like, so I would stand there and I'm like,
Brittany and I can attest to this because we
work
with you.
There with teachers, so I'm there, but okay. I've learned my new word in life is okay. Okay. That's all you got. That's all I got for you at this moment, because I don't know what else to say. Maybe I might say the wrong thing at the wrong moment. So I don't want to say the wrong thing. So the best word for me in this moment, okay. So I mean, you gotta understand, like I said, what your priorities are. So I think once you set that healthy boundary and you know what those priorities are for you, you learn to like get to pick yourself up and dust yourself off and go again.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And like I said, Brittany and I can definitely attest to her and her okay. Well, she's developed that lately, but another phrase you said earlier, I remember you saying often, and definitely no. I feel like another factor, though, I know Jackie and Abiola are both moms, and Brittany and Sierra, I don't know if you've ever noticed this. It may just be in the education world, but we can all speak to that as well. But there has been, I have noticed during my experience, I've taught since 2011 now. And when you are not a mother or a parent or have a family at home, they oftentimes, the job, the administrator, the school, whatever your maybe other jobs not in education, sometimes they act like and take advantage of that as well. Because they'll say, well, you don't have to go somewhere. You can chaperone this or you can do that. Or if another person, like what Abby was saying, is like, no, I have to go. I have a priority. I have something else I have to attend to. Then they just assume that you have no personal life because you know you're not engaged. You might not be married. You might have children. Have any of y'all had any experience or situations like that? Sierra said no.
Nope. Well, actually, let me amend that. In terms of the teaching world, nope. I don't play with that. It's time to go. It's time to go. Mm-hmm. Unless I'm waiting until traffic to die down and then we go the other way. But in terms of like when I was, I used to work at the Metropolitan Museum of Art back home in New York for years. Mm-hmm. And I lived close to the museum, which was a blessing and a curse because I didn't really have to pay to go to work, so I could just walk. But then, you know, when we had like horrible weather or a snowstorm or any of that crap, who's the first person that they called? Hey, you coming in to work, right? I'm just like, because my boss like lived like maybe like 8 blocks from me and we both lived relatively, and I'm just like, this ain't cool, man. You know, I wanted to just stay in bed like everyone else and not commute, you know. But I think it's in terms of like how open you are at sharing and breaking that third wall with that job will be able to allow them to delegate how they want to play and manipulate your time. Mm-hmm. So I think the less they know, the less they need to know, then I gotta go, okay, bye. I don't need you to know I have kids, because whenever I teach adults about how to interview skills for English jobs, I'm like, don't mention you're married, don't mention your kids, don't mention nothing, because that will give them an excuse to give you less hours. So don't even say anything, you know? Yeah. What do? I'm looking for this job and I like to participate in my job. Like, know nothing about my family life. I come into work, clock out, I'm done.
I think that is like a really good point. I think some of the places that I know we all have worked collectively, or at least Abby, Jackie, and Brittany. I know, well, we worked at charter schools and they're very big on trying to do these like quote unquote fake work-life balance, or they'll say like, well, let's at the beginning of the year tell each other all about yourself and everything to try to do some intro. But then I think it's a manipulation to try to see what they can know about you, like you said, so that they can, either suck in. And I wasn't saying like every day, like just an everyday school day or everyday work day, but on the days where they want you to do an event or some special circumstances, different things like that. I feel like sometimes they try to suck in. I want to give some likes to the people who are in our comments this evening. Hi, DJ Eddie. How are you? Then we have Adam. How are you? Blaze commented and said, at my mature age, I certainly put boundaries in place, also using breathing techniques, and have incorporated the word okay as well. Just like Abby. All right.
You don't have to use that one.
Yes. Oh, we have some more guests on with us. All right. I think this may be Mr. Best in the World. You said this was your wife?
Yes, hi, I'm Queen Forever 2K21.
How are you?
I'm good. How you doing, ladies? Good evening.
Good.
Thanks for coming on with us tonight.
No problem. Gotta support.
Thank you. We are just talking about suggested tips to avoid burnout. Supposedly, they are from a psychology expert. His name is Zinzer. So we're both saying what we can relate to and what we call BS on, basically. So we are now talking about number 4, and he is suggesting taking micro rest breaks. So I heard someone say that earlier that I think it was Jackie. You said when you were on the line, when you worked, that you would just like step back sometimes and take a mini break, even at work. So could you speak to that a little bit more, and then other people can expound on maybe when they've done something similar at one of their jobs?
I shouldn't say this. I will just absolutely be great for when that line go down. That gave me the chance to work on homework. If I had it, if I didn't have it, I just sit back and take me a nap.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, and when the line come on, you can hear it because it cranks up, it clings, so you know it's time to get up.
Mm-hmm.
Also, when I worked in retail too, I worked in retail. I will always go back there buy those pillows, and like I would get on my knees, like I'm putting them pillows in there. That was like, and I just had my arms up like that. You know, you got to be crafty with the things you do just to get over.
Yes. And what you said about getting older.
No, I said,
go ahead.
Okay, like now I get more rest now sometimes because my son is 26. I have more, or they call it me time. And if I had to do it all, I wouldn't do it all. That's the only way I knew how to do it when he was a child. But I get more time. I wish that you know, COVID came in and I want to travel. That shut that down. So, you know, it's just, you got to make it. You got to make it work for you, you know. And I will always get, well, how do you do this? And how do you do this? How do you do that? And you're a single mom. You think I'm just going to just sit there and turn into a slob and let things happen around me? No. You just, like I said, you just do what you have to do. Some things get left out. Some things don't get done till like 3 or 4 months later. That's how that's the way it goes. That's how it worked for me.
Any other tips how other people would take micro rest or breaks at work whenever there was any kind of time or availability?
Well, I work. I work in a social services field. I'm a social worker, so I've been working through the pandemic. So I don't even know what it means to not to be working from. I wish I could work from home, but you know, I worked at a mental health facility where they came from jail or the mental health hospitals, and then now I work at a homeless navigation center. So they live there. So there's no breaks. I know for me, I've been working extra because, you know, we have someone who has had some health challenges and unable to work and laid off because of the pandemic. So I was like, okay, cool. So I just go to work early and I sleep in my car.
Wow.
So I have to be there at 7. You know, sometimes I'm there at like 6:30, 7, and I don't have to start till 8. So I'm like, okay, I'll fight through this traffic and I'm just going to park in the corner, lean my seat all the way back and bring my blanket and I'm out. And they said, I saw you I was wondering who that was in the parking lot. I said, don't worry about it. I'm not clocking in till I walk through that door. So you don't see me. So yeah, so I tend to do that.
I can relate to that. I remember definitely many a time that commute was long. And to avoid the crazy traffic, I would take a nap under the trees in the dark before. And I know some people would come up and tap on the window. I think Abby a couple times when I would like be there super early before the doors open, stuff like that. So, but also what you said about like not having a break often or being in careers where you can't, you know, take a break in front of children or like what you're mentioning with social work and things like that. Sierra, go ahead. I know you wanted to interject something.
Oh no, I used to plan breaks and just schedule them into my lesson where it was like, all right, time for you guys to have a presentation. Let's do presentations. Let's do some group work. Let's do some group work. Okay. All right, guys, let's watch a movie. Today we have a video and you're gonna write a paper. I would knock out. My favorite one when I was the academic coordinator. Let's have a staff meeting. Oh, I would knock out. Staff meetings were the perfect place to take a nap.
I would I don't know, all the places. We just need to come work where you work because I know some of the people we work for, that lady would have cussed us out, slap out. Like you had to say things word for word on a script of a lesson plan. Or there would have been no nap, no movie. She'd come in there, snatch the book out of it. No.
No, our work meeting was that you know that required academic development or career development training where one person would teach something that we all knew already. So they'd hand out the slides and they'd have the PowerPoint all ready to go. So the lights were cut off and we were all out. That was like the highlight until it was your turn to rotate and do it. So then you were like, oh, dag, I can't take a break this Friday. Dang it, you know? But literally anytime there's some group work or anything like that, and I'm teaching online, so you see these lovely glasses, how you really can't see my pupils. So that's extremely helpful when it's 4 o'clock in the morning and I'm listening to something and I'm just like this, and you know, L, yeah, get my little 30 seconds.
So this is like a great transition to his next points, which are both about being greedy about your energy and asserting your needs. So I know several of y'all sound like I could learn from you. And then I know like a couple of us are saying like either get into work way too early to either catch some naps or to get there because you felt anxiety, things like that. Some people are like, no, I have very strong boundaries. So it's just a mix. But either way, just be greedy about your energy, what either brings you joy, what motivates you, what keeps your fuel up. And then the last thing, kind of what Abby was mentioning about saying, okay, sometimes listening, being respectful, being professional, but being like, okay, and then keep it moving. I know that's another one of your catchphrases. We're gonna patent. And then asserting you and asserting whatever that means, right? If it's you, if it's just you going to have your self-care sometimes, getting your nails done, getting a massage. You know, I know Miss Williams, you say you do that. Well, Jackie, a little bit. I know I've been made that a point to do that like once a month for myself. I was never good about that before. I would just like let myself look a mess and just keep looking like a zombie. But asserting your needs. So what would that mean, everybody on the panel, the host, if you could say no to something in your life and yes to you? What is something right now that you could prioritize saying no to and yes to you?
I say no to working on my days off. I work overtime. Don't get me twisted. I work a lot of doubles. But my thing is, if I'm gonna work that hard, I want to get paid. Right. So I work the doubles because my job only pays time and a half and double time if you work within the same day. So you have to work 8 hours, then anything over that is time and a half and double time, not extra days. So if I work on my day off, I would just get straight pay. I'm not doing that. So I tell them, you can work me like a backyard slave Sunday to Thursday, but Friday and Saturday, you don't know me because I'm done. So I sleep in. I mean, even today, like today is my day off. I literally woke up, got some water, went back to sleep. Woke up, I don't know what I did, went back to sleep. And I literally did not leave the house till about 1:30. And then I woke up anxious, like, oh my gosh, the day's gone. And my husband was like, it's your day off, chill. And I'm like, you're right. I don't have to do anything. You're right. And so then Friday is usually just like relax. And then Saturday morning, I'm usually at the grocery store, 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning. I wish the stores opened up at 5 o'clock. I get, he tells me what he wants to eat for the week. And I make meals, literally 3 to 4 meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner is taken care of for 4 days for both of us. So I'm in the kitchen cooking, meal prepping, and then maybe by 1 o'clock Saturday, I'm done again. So I really try to prioritize my weekend, even my weekend off. Like if I don't have to go nowhere, I don't go nowhere. And then I don't cook for myself. I don't cook for anybody on the weekends. I'm treating myself and we order out or we go get something to eat. Like the only thing I'm cooking is for the week. So that's my self-care.
I like that. Weekend, treating yourself. That's amazing. And then definitely saying no on your off days. What about some of the rest of you? What could you say no to more often right now and say yes to what you want to do?
I can say no to a lot of the extracurricular activities my kids have. Like they always have something going on. Like I'm like, Lord Jesus, these schools need to stop. Like I can understand why are we going to school 8 to 4? I never can understand that in America. That's number one. Because in the Caribbean, when I was going to school when I was younger, was 8 to 2. So it was
It
strange
was
going to
8 to
school.
2 when I was a kid.
Yeah, so going to school 8 to 4, and then you still got homework to come home and help these kids with. I thought last I checked homework, like if you didn't know something in school, why are you sending it home for me to do? So and then they got track practice. One is in cross country, one is running regular track. Then I'm like, okay, like, can y'all please don't do nothing this year? Like, just be regular kids and just don't do any extracurricular activities at this point because it's taken up. I'm like, fear. I don't cook on Fridays and Saturdays because that's eat out for us. But like on Saturdays, I'm always going to a track meet in another, like in Kentucky. I'm going to somewhere out of state to some track meet for one of my children. And I'm like, can I just have like a couple of Saturdays, like nobody don't wake me up? Can I get a glass of wine before I go to bed? I don't want to make no breakfast. I'm like, and it's not so much the older two guys, it's the youngest one because I just feel like he was sent to torture me at some point. Like I felt like I did something bad to my parents and I'm getting it back from the youngest one. And I'm like, give me 5 more minutes. He'll come open my eyelids and be like, Abby, he called me Abby. It's been 5 minutes. Why you are not out of bed getting me breakfast? And I'm like, what child talks like a grown man? Like, why you not getting up and make my breakfast? I'm like, your dad don't even say get up and make my breakfast, but a 7-year-old is asking me to get up and make some breakfast. So I'm like, Jessica knows she knows. I know Miss Winston knows pretty much all 3 of my kids, but I feel like sometimes I just need like a me getaway somewhere because I always feel like I'm either vacationing with my husband, vacationing with my kids. I need a vacation like just Abby vacation. No kids, no husband, just sit on a beach somewhere by myself.
I was gonna say, let's go visit Sierra in Belize. Come on.
Well, the truth is, I can't really speak to the balance because this is the most amazing schedule life thing that I've just set up for myself because I was done. Like I had a 3-month plan and just sold a whole bunch of stuff, donated a whole bunch of stuff, and just came. I was over it. But in terms of the balance, like I happen to be really lucky where I found a nice online job that I just work from. I wake up at 3:14 in the morning, and I work from 4 a.m. to 7 a.m. Monday through Saturday, and I have the rest of the day. And technically, my day off is like Saturday night into Sunday is my day off where I can actually stay up late. Other than that, like this is approaching like literally my bedtime where I'm like, I don't think I want no tacos anymore because I got class in the morning. So I've achieved the impossible of having a work-life balance where I have an entire day. Don't be mugging me, Missy. You can visit, okay? You could totally, they literally have flights. They just opened up a new hub out of like Denver where they have direct flights. So you fly out of Denver or you fly out of Houston or whatever. They have direct flights, okay? And then you could get flights round trip for like $300 max, okay? Wow. So don't be poking your finger, making evil faces at me, okay? No, but I think like this is the first time where the pandemic allowed me to prioritize myself, which has been nice because I walked away from a job that was burning out and I was on unemployment before the entire world was on unemployment. And in California, if you were in California or if you've heard the news about California and how we had to wait, other people had to wait like 3-4 months for their unemployment to kick in, and we're getting evicted from houses and all sorts of craziness. And I had the foresight to quit my job beforehand and collect unemployment, to avoid how am I going to pay my bill? I'm going to die. I'm going to get kicked out of my apartment. But I think and then finding a couple of gigs in the interim in between that allowed me to pop out the country for a little bit to take a breather and a break. And it's like, all right, let's just stay here, you know? So in terms of the balance, I think what we need to do is we need to prioritize ourselves more. Like how you said, you want to take a break just for yourself, do it. Like just, your husband can fend for himself. He knows how to take care of kids. You don't have to worry about him because he'll figure it out. And kids don't break easily.
It's mostly the guilt trip for me because I'm like, listen, this is my children. And I think if for parents that is on, like Miss Jacqueline might attest to this, you just feel like, if I take this trip, like, I have to leave my kids. And I'm like, even though I know it's the father of my kids,
they're
like,
y'all kids.
what is he doing with my children? Like, because I think that is what's going to be my biggest thing. Because it's like, did they take their bath already? Is a negotiation going on with a 7-year-old? Like,
okay, let the negotiation happen.
I don't know.
You're gonna be on a hot tub, chilling, drinking a glass of wine. Let the negotiations commence.
I don't know. It's a guilt thing for me. I can do a lot of things. I know I can, but I just feel so bad. I remember when I took a trip to Jamaica with my husband. And we were like, I didn't even see what the point of us taking this vacation, y'all, because thank God for WhatsApp. We were calling my mom, like, what are they doing? Did they eat already? Did they take their bath already? I'm like, why did we even come on this trip? This trip didn't even make no sense to me because I'm still calling back home to find out. My husband is like, girl, they're with your mother. I'm like, oh, I know they're with my mom, but they still my kids. They're yours too. So what's the problem?
I was really different for men though than women.
Hey, I was totally different when it came to my son. When he went, I was glad. He called me more than he would talk with me at home. Mom, what you getting ready to do? And I shouldn't have said that. I said, I'm going to the bar and I'm table dancing. And my sister said, stop saying that to him. I said, he never asked me what I'm doing when he's at the house. So why he want to call me and see what I'm doing? I'm at home, either I'm reading, relaxing, or I go to the movie, comedy show, something, while you're not here, but that was my break right there too. When I let him go, put him on that plane, didn't worry about it was crashing or he wasn't coming back. I knew he was coming back.
Yeah, my mom used to do that. Send me down to Florida, go visit my aunts and stuff. Yeah,
right.
Go in. I need a break, summer break. Yeah.
Ironically, even though Miss Williams has just shared that she is a table dancer and going to the bar, the next quote is a horrible transition, but it is talking about the new disease and what Sierra has already alluded to of our age, probably more the westernized culture, is being okay doing everything at exactly the same time. But we all talked about this earlier, right? How a lot of us have not prioritized ourselves, or that we need to do more of what Jackie was saying, just be like a little less OCD with things and not worry about as much. But I imagine it would be very hard, especially like what Abby was saying, right? With multiple children. I even worry about my cats sometimes too much. And I won't even go on trips right now because, this one's got prescription food and the neighbor won't take care of them right. And they won't clean their litter box right. So I can't even imagine having children and diapers and all the other stuff. The other piece of this is, in order to burn out, a person needs to have been on fire at one time. So even if you are really stressed out at work, even if your boss is really doing the most, even if you don't feel like you have a work-life balance, and maybe your husband or your wife or your whatever partner is not putting forth their piece of the effort, right? What Sierra was telling Abby, right? They're his children too. You initially had to have been very passionate, have a fire within your guts that made you want to do all that made you want to major in that degree. So what is it for you all that is keeping your fire alive, even if you're stressed, even if you don't like your particular job, your particular boss? what is keeping your passion alive right now in your field, or what do you want to go towards that you think would bring you more fire? Let's go I'm gonna come to Queen.
I've always wanted to be a social worker. I don't know why, but I've always wanted to do it. So I think for me, loving what I do, I mean, I'm even in the mix of starting a nonprofit, both West Coast and East Coast, and we are, a few months away from getting our 501c3. So I've been doing this program that I'm starting as a nonprofit with my sister and my sisters and my nieces, because they're all social workers. Well, 3 of them are. I used to do this 7 days a week. So even on the weekend, I would do my program that I wasn't getting paid for it. And I got excited. I get excited about doing it. I love what I do, although I do the work of however many people. When I see the results, I see the moms' faces and I see the family members' faces, I go, this is why I wake up and do what I do. So I think it's my love for the field. I, knew that I can't be super rich, but I can live pretty comfortably being a social worker. But yeah, I just love what I do. I love the impact that I make, and I'm not necessarily working in the ideal age range that I want to. And through I call it my experience, I call it the circle of life. I've worked with disabled adults in home support. I've worked with CPS, Child Protective Services. I've worked with transitional age youth. I've worked with autistic kids. I've worked with mental health adults. And now I'm working with homeless. So I've worked with the gamut. So my favorite age is 9 to 21.
That's
Because
not an
also,
age. That's a swing.
yeah. So that
Well,
age group to me is very vital, even though a lot of kids experience trauma at early ages. You can still catch them, and not necessarily redo the trauma or reverse it, but not to make them so jaded and hardened.
mm-hmm.
And younger kids are, even though they experience the trauma, they're more receptive. As they get older, it's harder to reach them.
Mm-hmm.
So if you catch them at the pivotal point, it's very important to get in there, reach them, build that rapport, and be able to make an impact. So yeah, so that's I love what I do, even though sometimes what helped me too is talking about it. Like I would call when I would see stuff at work, I would call my niece, and she was like, "What happened at work?" I was like, "Just if you're feeling it, please talk to your mother. Talk to me. I won't say anything." And she was like, "It's okay, Auntie. I'm all right. I'm not doing that. That's not what's going." So yeah. So yeah. So I love what I do. So that's what keeps me going.
I think for me, I'm a special education teacher, like Miss Queen was saying too. I think for me, it's the children because they're so vulnerable, and I like working with the younger kids as well. I do elementary school because when you catch special education students at that pivotal point in their life, you can change the whole trajectory. Like I've had kids that literally came to me, couldn't write, couldn't read, couldn't do a lot of things. And like when parents reach out to you and say, oh, so and so is writing their name. To the average parent, that might be something that is expected, but when you're working with a population that is not expected of and they're actually doing it, it brings me more joy. Like for me to go back and teach like regular kids, I can't do it. I cannot, because I think the population that I work with bring me a lot of peace and stability. Like they calm my spirits. Like literally they come up, and I don't know if it's a sixth sense they have. Like I can come to school in like the worst mood ever, and literally like they'll come and be like, Miss Williams, I love you. And I'm like they'll look at my face and be like, are you okay? And I'm like, Lord Jesus, I'm gonna need to change my face, because if they can look at my face and just, like, I don't know if they realize, like, something is wrong with Miss Williams or something is going on. So it's like they bring like a peace to my life, even though my own kids do, but these kids bring some kind of calm and peace, because like everything around them, it don't matter. It don't matter. And I think sometimes it makes me like teary-eyed. Like when you look at them, you're like, there can be so much potential for these kids if they're placed in the right environment. Like just being in the right environment and with the right person can change the whole trajectory of these children's lives. And I think a lot of times that bring me that kind of calm, and I can be up here and then I'll just come right down when they come to me, and it's like it's just mellow. Like I'm like, why do they do this to me? I don't know. And then by the time they leave, I can be right back up here. And then when the other set walk in, I'm like, I'm back down here. Like they'll be like, were you just on 10? How come you on 0? I'm like, I don't know. Like I'll be like, I just put this down here. Now it's down here. And it's like when they walk in, I don't even care what was on that table a minute ago that was missing. You know what I mean? So that brings me like real straight up peace. Like working with the population I work with bring me like so much calm and awareness and being present in the moment and all of that.
For me, it's kind of different because I love the adult population more than life itself. So my ideal age is anyone over 24, basically. And right now I'm teaching kids, but I have a motto where I have 0 problems teaching children if they are not American, because those American kids and those American parents, there's just, I might want to punch a kid. You talk back to me the wrong way. It's not happening.
Oh, yeah.
Your mom trying to have 25 cents in my 2 cents class. It's not going to work. So that's why I love my adults for the same reasons, ironically, for the same reasons that you guys love children. For me, when I teach adults, and this has been from even when I first started, always being younger than my population, but having this level of respect. I always tell them, like, we are peers. I don't know more than you. You don't know more than me. We're swapping information. So for that level of conversation, and also with babies, you got to do form, meaning, and connection and teach them the whole gambit of things, versus with adults, you're just swapping out context or vocabulary or redefining definitions that are unique to a certain area. So that allows for a greater deal of growth. And I love when my students who can't write, don't know the alphabet, don't know jack diddly squat, end up going to, Santa Monica College in 4 years, from being fresh off the plane, FOP, to studying, you know what I mean? And then just having a small slither of seeing them succeed. And my motto is, if you're my student, I'm your teacher for life. It doesn't matter if I had you for one class. Doesn't matter if it was a teacher training, if it was an ESL class, if it was a civics class. I still get emails from students. I passed my citizenship test. Sweet. I'm so happy for you. Or I was able to talk to my kid's parent or teacher at parent-teacher conference with the tools you gave me. Or I was able to fill out this form for this services, or I was able to get this. So for me, I love it when my adults are able to function and thrive and actively participate. And then also what's beautiful is, I don't know, I get it from my mom and grandma, that it factor in the classroom where there's no drama in my classroom. So there's all races, all religions, all backgrounds, and everyone in my class respect each other and share culture. So you can have Hasidic Jews and my Saudis having a lovely conversation. You can have my Turkish people chilling with my Russian students and having a conversation, because there's this exchange of culture. Once you create a nice, safe environment where you're allowed to have trust, and that's my high. That's where I get my biggest fulfillment, when I see my students traveling and using their English and hitting up their classmates in different countries when they're traveling. One of my students, she's like, "Hey, are you in LA?" I'm like, "No, I'm sorry. I'm in Belize. I moved." And she's like, "Darn, I wanted to see you. I wanted to show you my husband. I told him so much about you." I'm like, "Yeah, I saw the wedding. I saw the live stream. Remember, I waved," So being a part of their lives and seeing them go from nothing and to starting their own businesses and doing taxes and doing this and being productive from
rage quitting.
Like, that's the part for me that's just the happiest thing in the world, especially my undocumented babies, where I advocate for them so much harder than I would anyone who's native or who's been in the country forever, who just is lazy, So, because that's the crux of the matter, especially in ESL classes. You have the ones who are fresh, who are hungry, and the ones who have been here for a long time. Those are the ones who I love to reach. And like one of my oldest students who I love, she was 84. And she didn't want to speak any English. She spoke Spanish in the Spanish enclave in New York and didn't have to speak any English. And at the end of our class, she did a whole presentation in English talking about teaching us how she makes her mofongo recipe. And all of us were taking notes of English to try and get it. And she opened up her little business where she sold and she was speaking English. So for me, that was just amazing. That brings me joy.
All right. So
Sorry.
We are obviously very passionate about all of our topics, all of our social interests, all of our careers, regardless of if we are stressed about work, regardless of if we actually do have a work-life balance, if we actually have achieved the American dream. But what if all those things are true? You have passion, you have interest, you have a heart, and you just have also a fantasy in your brain of rage quitting your job. Has any of you ever experienced that? Even if you've not done it, have you ever dreamed about it?
Well, I told you it happened to me. I didn't even expect it. I didn't even expect for it to go down like that, but
yes,
it happened.
And what was your fantasy?
I was planning on staying there for that last month, but it was just a student and her sister.
Oh, so you actually fulfilled yours, but you didn't rage quit, right? You just left. You were just like, I'm done.
Yeah, I quit.
I know, but it wasn't rage.
Oh, okay.
You just stuck with your okay. Going back to our Abby persona, you were like, okay, I am done.
No, I did. I balled my fist up to hit her, and I know I couldn't do that. So I just walked off the bus, say I'm driving where they were going, but I kept going straight and went home. Then I called back and say, I'm not coming back. I am done.
Because your boss was not upholding the respectful culture and was not keeping the same respect for the students and the professors or the instructors. So we are going to, with fair use, use a little humorous, less than 1 minute clip. I want y'all to see if this resonates with anyone else other than Miss Williams.
Rage quitting is the second leading cause of unemployment and the number one leading cause of thrown printers. Okay, look, you know you can't do this. So I opened the Rage Quit Fantasy Room so you can fulfill the fantasy of telling your boss where to go and how to get there.
It hurt my feelings when you called me
meaner.
You look like roll-on deodorant.
For sending the perfect parting email.
Here's a receipt for all the highways we just adopted.
Nice. And wouldn't it feel great to do this?
Your baby looks the same in all of these.
Unfortunately. You can fantasize about this all day, or you can just look for a new job with ZipRecruiter.
So, some of us definitely, we might just need to go ahead and look on LinkedIn or ZipRecruiter or whatever, right? If some of us are having some of these fantasies of rage quitting. And
I quitted. I had a lovely rage quit. It was epic.
Go ahead, Sierra.
Beautiful. No, I was academic coordinator in the same job that I had to wake up crazy early hour to drive on the highway to get on the 110 to drive down to. If you've ever seen like a basketball game in LA when they fly over the Staples Center and that highway right there, yeah, that one. We call that the parking lot. So heading down the Torrance every morning, I set the school up. Well, the school started on some special pretense where I got hired, and the person who I was replacing quickly quit right afterwards and flew to Taiwan to be with his wife so they could have a baby. So that should have been my first clue that I did not want the job. But I had 16 days to put together a school. So I had to hire staff and teachers and support staff and create curriculum and do all this stuff. So I set up an amazing program, hired everyone, got it all working. And after the second summer program the first was for Vietnamese, then we had some French. So the first group of French students came through. There was like 160 students graduating that day. And for some reason, the Microsoft Word mail merge was not working for me to easily merge the names and the dates and the grades onto their certificates. So I had to manually type all 100 and change of them in under 2.5 hours and print them and stamp them and sign them. And all I asked was for the school director to give the 4 certificates to our adult students, because I was running around giving them to the other teachers so they could hand them to the students. And maybe 3 or 4 of them were misspelled. My bad, because I was typing fast. So she comes in and slams the certificates on the table. All 4 of them, I asked her to put away. It's not my job. It's your job. I turned around and I typed the fastest resignation letter to the office and sent it off, did all the stuff, and proceeded to take down all the decorations I put up and leave the school. I was done. I was so done for the amount of work that I did for that school in the short period of time. Oh, it felt so good. Oh, man, that felt great.
I am always just too much of a rule follower. So I have never, even though it has many a time been a fantasy, I have never actually rage quit. Has anyone else on the stream done an epic rage quit? I've always just put in my 2 weeks notice or
2 weeks. You had 3 hours.
It feels good when you do it.
It feels amazing. You had 3 hours.
But you know what I didn't do? I didn't do the letter of resignation. I felt kind of bad. I said, it goes along with the program. No letter of resignation.
Can you guys hear me?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, so when I was in high school, I was working at Burlington on my off season from basketball. And
this
it was
Shannon,
terrible. I was having
right?
a very, very bad day. So I was calling my mom. I'm like, should I quit? She was like, I don't think so. You've only been there a week. I think you should give it some time. I'm like, I'm ready to go. So it was time for lunch. So I went on my lunch break. And let's just say I never came back. That was the longest lunch break ever.
They still waiting for you.
Abby, I know that was Shannon that was speaking. Thanks, Shannon, for coming on as a guest this evening. And Abby, I know exactly what Shannon just said. You said a bunch of women at one of your jobs did that, like 5 teachers or something quit in like a lunch break, right? They just went on break and just were like, never came back. Went to Smoothie King. Bye. That's all about leadership right there, or the lack thereof. But that's another topic for another day. So we have talked so many topics this evening about the American dream or the myth of it sometimes. We have talked about work-life balance or the lack of it. We have talked about rage quitting. We've talked about how to avoid burnout. We could talk about self-care, but I think we're going to have to go ahead and cut this one a little short this evening. We are the social hour. So before we leave, I want to give everyone that's listening, everyone who's been in the comments tonight, the opportunity. I'm going to put a link in the chat so you can vote about what you would be interested in hearing us talk about next time on the social hour. So I'm putting that link in the chat right now. If you want to go in that Google form and vote, we would appreciate it. We definitely appreciate you having come tonight, being here with us, hearing these discussions, lively discussions that many people have had opinions on and put lots of input in. I've really enjoyed hearing from you all and hosting this evening. I do hope that you have taken some of these tips in. Realize that you are not alone. You do have a community here, whether it's at Knowledge and Relationships, whether it's here with us at the social hour, whether it's with your friends, your family, maybe your therapist, right? I had my hour right before this. So I'm going to just be real, Mr. Keith Foster. Thank you for helping out. Yes, but please vote. Let us know. We have a variety of topics coming up. So let us know if you're more interested in hearing about financial literacy or marriage or the lack thereof, societal expectations versus reality, entrepreneurship, side hustles, fundraising, gun rights or gun control, education, book review night. We really look forward to learning more about you, having you on the show with us or in the comments supporting us. Thank you so much again for coming, for tuning in. And thank you for our first night here at the social hour with Jessica and Abby and Jackie. Brittany had to leave us, was one of our panelists. Sierra is one of our excellent panelists tonight. Queen hopped on, Shan hopped on. We also have Lisie, who's going to be a normal co-host. But again, thank you so much for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you again. We'll be here bi-weekly on Fridays. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.